I'll be honest with you guys, I did not expect this season to go the way that it has. It has been a success in every single sense of the word. And now I've got the task of trying to review it and also the save as a whole. And then we'll talk about what's going to be coming next. How you doing, guys, and welcome to episode 22 of Let's Go Villa. I'm Stu. Thank you for joining me in today's video, which is going to be season review, bit of a series review, and also possibly a bit of a transfer window as well. I think we are going to do the Club World Cup idea I mentioned at the end of the last episode. So we're going to see how the transfer window goes, if we can make the squad significantly better, and then we'll just go for it, shall we? We'll just go for it. So what's going to happen is, I'm going to do this as I normally would, but I'm going to focus on the squad a little bit more than I normally would, just because, again, it's more of a series review. But we will do a proper series review after the Club World Cup as well. But then we are going to do a normal transfer special, maybe a bit quicker than normal, and I don't think we're going to show you the Community Shield. I don't want to show you any games up until the Club World Cup. So it's going to be this episode, and then the next episode will be at the end of the season, when the Club World Cup starts. So we're actually going into Season 5, technically, because it kind of crosses over. So we're going to do that, and we're going to see how that goes. And you watch, we'll probably get knocked out in the group stage, but we'll give it a go anyway. But if you're excited to see how we do in the Club World Cup, and if you really have enjoyed how we've done this season, because we've done pretty bloody well, please do leave a like on the video for me, and subscribe so you never miss any lovely Football Manager content from this face right here. We've had a very good season. Let's just start off by saying that. 3 trophies on there. Let's get into it, shall we? With new arrivals. And I think we have to start with the best one. Tammy Bloody Abraham. 52 appearances, 42 goals, 8 assists, nearly a goal contribution every game. It's peak Erling Haaland. Well, it's not even peak Erling Haaland. Peak Erling Haaland scored 40 goals in the Premier League. It's Erling Haaland-esque. He's been superb. £75 million. I consider that to be a bargain. Got a release clause of £90 million. I might try and renegotiate his contract this summer to try and get rid of that. I will be surprised if someone doesn't try and come in for him, so we might do that relatively sharpish. But good season from him. Todibo was exactly the type of defender we needed. Has been superb for us. Scored a couple of goals, but was a defensive rock at the back. For £30 million, absolute bargain. Considering he wasn't our first choice as well. Really, really good effort. The full signing of Go PARMA for £35.5 million. I'll be honest with you, that's a bit more than I wanted to pay, but it's not actually that bad for the quality he's been. 13 goals, 27 assists. Chef's kiss. Emil Smith-Rowe, a lot of money. It's a lot less than what they wanted us to pay, because we went in for him once in the summer and we turned him down. We ended up going back in for him, got him at a bit of a bargain compared to what they were asking. It's still a lot of money, but actually, 18 goals, 11 assists. I would suggest he's actually delivered. Particularly in the second half of the season, he's looked unstoppable. Arthur Theat, we know all about him from the Parma save. We signed him there, we've signed him here. He's actually displaced Tyrone Mings as my preferred central defensive partner for Todibo. Absolutely superb. Sergio Rico, great backup goalkeeper. Played in the cup competitions for us, and yes, we didn't win either of the cup competitions in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. But he did all right for us, actually, and I actually had confidence putting him in the team. Yeah, he kind of messed up a little bit against West Ham in the final game of the season, but we won't talk about that. Ivan Toney, we're selling him. I didn't mention this before. We've fallen out with him. He wants to leave because he hasn't played as a press. Not even that he hasn't played as he hasn't played football. He hasn't played as a pressing forward. That's the bit he's not happy with. 1 goal and 1 assist in 4 starts and 10 substitution appearances. If we can get around what the amount that we paid for him, I'll be pretty happy with that. Raspadori, £30 million, was nowhere near the level of play we thought we were getting, but actually 4 goals and 5 assists in 11 starts and 21 sub appearances. He's done a job for us, actually. He's been alright. I'm not overly happy with him, but he's alright. He's okay. These two I'm not too worried about. Williams and Fornals. Williams made 4 appearances for us. That's really it. Fornals, 1 start, 15 substitution appearances. I hoped he would be a little bit better than he was. We didn't really give him many chances, though, so I can't complain too much. Transfers out. Danny Ings, PSG, £45 million. He's done okay there. He was never going to be an absolute nailed-on starter for them, but he's done all right there. He got us that amount of money. Thank you, Danny. Thank you for your service. Nick Pope was trash for us last season. Don't really care about him. Ollie Watkins, had him for half a season. Didn't really want to lose him, but at the time we really needed the money, so glad to see he's done alright at Spurs. Very glad indeed, actually. Diego Carlos, £53 million. Good amount of money for a 30-year-old at the time. He's played a few games for them. He's played alright for them. Happy days. Jens Petter Haag, for a player we got for nothing, £41 million. Excellent. Hasn't played a lot for Inter, but he has played a few games. He's looked alright for them. Caleb Chukwuemeka, fine. We just let him go, to be honest with you. Wasn't really that bothered keeping him. Jeremy Boga, we paid like 5 million for him, made a profit on him. He's done all right over at Bournemouth, but he's not been spectacular. Kind of glad we got rid of him. Tyreek Wright, not that bothered about. Bertrand Traore, we sent him out on loan, remember, and then there was a clause that Crystal Palace had to buy him. He's done all right for them, but not spectacular. And I think the only other big transfer that we made was this one right here, Douglas Luiz, for £53 million. We just didn't know where we was going to fit in the squad, so we moved him on. We made a healthy profit on him, as it says there. He's done all right for them and not spectacular, but he's going to be playing Championship football next season unless he gets a transfer away from the club. Won't bother looking at loans. Let's have a look at season results. So starting with the biggest one of all, the Premier League. What a season. 95 points. We win the league from Liverpool, who got 92. We were second best for the entire season up until around this period here when Liverpool started to drop points. They lost to Everton and then they lost to, I think it was Newcastle. They lost those 2 games, and that just meant that we had games in hand that if we won them both, we'd go ahead of them by a point. And then they drew another game, and they just cost it themselves, basically. In the end, we won it with a game to spare. We lost the final game of the season, it didn't matter. We are Premier League champions. Tammy Abraham, our top goal scorer with 29 goals. Ridiculously, that's not enough to win the Golden Boot, because Erling Haaland, even though Man City finished 4th with only a goal difference of plus 29, he scored more goals than Man City's goal difference. Let that sink in for a second. But maxed out the attendance. We were expected to get into the Champions League. We've overachieved. Speaking of Champions League, we won that as well. Because of course we did. We beat Liverpool in the final 2-1 in extra time. We've had a great season in the Champions League. We had a relatively difficult group with both Dortmund and Juventus. We beat both of them. Juventus did get a win over us as well, but we also beat Copenhagen. We struggled against Copenhagen, actually. Only 2-1 and 1-0 against them. But we got through that group. Managed to squeeze past Real Madrid in the knockouts. We then beat Manchester City. Revenge for last season when they knocked us out of the Champions League. And then we beat Monaco as well before getting to that final. Tammy, our top goal scorer again. We maxed out the attendance again. Did very, very well. They wanted us to get to the first knockout round. I'll be honest with you. When I saw Real Madrid drawn, I thought that's as far as we'd get. FA Cup, semi-final. We overachieved. We got past the quarter-final, which the board wanted us to do. But we have won the FA Cup in the last 2 seasons. So personally, me, I'm a bit disappointed, especially that it was Wolverhampton Wanderers who went and beat us. However, Wolverhampton Wanderers did win the FA Cup. So we did lose to the eventual winners. Carabao Cup, knocked out by Fulham. I don't want to talk about it. Community Shield, the most important trophy of all. Won that as well. Technically, we've won a treble, not the treble, a treble. Very good season. Biggest wins there, biggest wins and stuff like that. So the biggest win was against West Ham right near the beginning of the season in September. Cole Palmer with a couple, Sander Berge, Smith Rowe with a couple, Abraham and Digne. We absolutely battered them. We looked unreal in this game. Match to remember, that first game against Juventus, Cuadrado got sent off, Ivan Coutinho getting us the win. And then goal of the season was this one from Emil Smith Rowe. I don't remember this one, but I know we have scored some absolute bangers this season. So let's have a look at this and see how it looks. I genuinely cannot remember it. When was it? It was in March, so it wasn't that long ago, actually. So let's see what it looks like. I think I do vaguely remember this. Coutinho with a bit of a knock, gets to Ramsey, Abraham Palmer. No, I don't remember that, actually. I can see why we've got that, because it's nice passing, but there was a couple of absolute worldies from outside the area that we scored, which I'm surprised. Oh, it wasn't Cole Palmer's, it was Smith Rowe's. Why did I click on Cole Palmer's? Right, sorry, disregard. We're looking at that again. These videos are usually long enough as it is, and I go and bloody click on the wrong goal. That was a nice little team goal, though, I have to say. Smith Rowe. Now I'm saying Smith Rowe's name. I vaguely remember this. I do think... Yeah, I do, actually. This is a bit of a worldie. Buendia gets to Smith Rowe, turns, and then boom. Yeah, that was a nice goal, I have to say. That was a nice goal. I think Cole Palmer I went to because it's against his former club. But that was one of the big games where it's just like, oh, we might actually be in this here. Financially, looking alright, actually. Sponsorship is up by about 3 million. We're only down 1 million in broadcast revenue. Maybe that's because of the FA Cup and Carabao Cup finals. I don't know. Corporate and hospitality is up by a good chunk. Our competition prize money has shot up, which is nice to see. And we're a little bit down on matchday commercial and retail, which I'm a little bit surprised by. Maybe that's to do with the player sale or something like that. In terms of shirt sales, Abraham's the top shirt seller, as you'd expect, along with Smith Rowe, Coutinho, Gonçalves, and Cole Palmer. I'm really happy that Smith Rowe and Cole Palmer are there. Very happy indeed. But something I've just seen, which I'm very excited about, we've got a 5-star worldwide reputation. In one season, we've gone up an entire star. That is awesome. Team of the season. Let's have a look at it. Martinez in goal. Aarons, Todibo, Thiat and Digne. As a back five, yeah, I'd agree with that, actually. Definitely. Aya, Ramsey and Coutinho in the midfield. With the injury to Gonçalves, yeah, I'd agree with that. And Vitinha just wasn't at the races for the majority of the year. I think there's a question mark over his future at the club, or at least his starting position at the club, because Coutinho played more often than not. Coutinho, might have to have a look at. I've got to be honest with you. Might have to have a look at him. Apologies, that was my phone going off. Yeah, we might have to look at Coutinho as well, because he is towards the end of his career, I think. And then we've got Cole Palmer, Emil Smith-Rowe and Tammy Abraham as the front three. I don't dispute that at all. Beautiful. In terms of awards and stuff, we've won a few. Just a few. Manager of the month for me. August, November, January, March, May. End of the year. What can I say? Player awards. Club award-wise, Fans Player of the Year is Tammy Abraham. Young player is Cole Palmer. I'm not going to disagree with either of those at all. Signing of the season is Tammy. Can't really disagree with that. Goal of the season we already know about. Tammy with 42 goals in all competitions is our top goal scorer. Most assists is Cole Palmer with 27. Player of the match awards, Tammy. You'd expect that with 9. Highest average rating, Tammy, 7.5. Most passes completed, Arthur Thiat with 73 per 90. In terms of competition awards, we've only got the 2. Our Champions League goalkeeper of the season is Emi Martinez. What a turnaround from the player I binned off in the first season in FM21. Superb for us. And Young Player of the Year in terms of the English Young Player of the Year is Cole Palmer as well. Record breakers, Palmer, 27 assists in a season. Good effort. 26 clean sheets for Martinez. Good effort. Abraham, 9 Player of the Match awards. Good effort. Worst discipline. I mean, that's not a great one. But 14 yellow cards for Lucas Digne. He is the naughty boy of the Naughty Boys Club. And Emil Smith-Rowe with the highest transfer fee. What a season that has been. Absolutely ridiculous. Good to see as well the players that we've got in the Dream Team. Our entire defence is in the Dream Team for the Champions League. Smith-Rowe and Coutinho in there as well. No Tammy Abraham, which is a bit of a surprise. But when your competition is Darwin Núñez and Kylian Mbappe, I mean, can understand that completely. Just confirmation as well of the award winners for the Champions League. Emi Martinez did get the goalkeeper of the season. We did know that one. Also, Lucas Digne coming second in defender of the season and Emil Smith-Rowe coming third. Bit of injustice though. No Tammy Abraham in that top 3. Erling Haaland only scored 6 goals in the Champions League. How's that fair? I'm sure Tammy scored 7. Tammy, just let me know, mate. Just let me know. 7 goals. Yeah, there you go. 7 goals. Absolutely mad. Absolutely mad. But in terms of this squad, what a squad we have got. I mean, looking at the players that we have, I can understand why we've been as successful as we have, because we've got some absolute world-class players. I mean, Emi Martinez, we'll start with the goalkeepers. Emi Martinez has been the only consistent in our goalkeeping department. I hated this guy in FN21. He was trash. He was absolutely rubbish. He's been superb for us. Absolutely superb. If you look at the seasons that we've had since we started the save, 33 goals conceded in the first season, 13 clean sheets, 18 clean sheets last season, conceded 29, conceded 21 this season with 20 clean sheets. He has been a rock at the back, absolutely superb. Has he made 1 or 2 mistakes? Yeah, sure, 1 or 2. But he's been absolutely superb for us. In terms of defence, the lads who were here to begin with, Ezri Konsa, Tyrone Mings, a central defensive, basically a central defensive partnership, certainly to begin with. Absolutely superb for us. Played most of the games for the first season, and then the games have gone down, but he has been a reliable player to throw in when we've needed someone to go in. Not scored a goal for us in any of those seasons, but solid ratings, over a 7 every single time. He's a player I definitely am happy to keep a hold of. Tyrone Mings, our club captain and legend of the club, I would suggest. Wasn't actually that good in the first season, if we're being honest. Didn't necessarily look the best, but has chipped in a few goals here and there, and certainly over last season and this season has had a level of consistency, which has kind of been a bit weird. He's either been really, really good or really, really bad. So it's levelled out as being pretty decent, actually. And I mean, you know, he's played a decent amount of games, but he has been unseated by Arthur Thiat towards the end of the season. Speaking of Arthur Thiat, what a signing he was this season. Absolutely superb. He's now up to a 4-star rating, which I don't even think he was a 4-star player when we signed him, but we knew this guy was good from the Parma save, and I felt a little bit cheeky going back to a player who we used in Parma. But for this season, I mean, 26 appearances, he scored a goal, he's had a player of the match, 7.1. He's only going to grow and get better and better. Speaking of better and better, Jean-Claire Todibo, number 13, the man who did the cartwheel in the Champions League final celebrations. I mean, we signed him for £30 million. He's worth up to 70. He's absolutely superb for us. He's only scored the 1 goal for us, but a 7.3 in the league. Utter madness. He has been superb for us. Very, very happy with him indeed. Talk about the fullbacks next. Matty Cash, the Polish Cafu. What a player he has been. Signed for Villa in 2020, 2021. So last season, the first season we had was his second season at the club. 28 games played, 1 goal, 2 assists. Solid. Solid and dependable. Played about the same games the season after. Solid and dependable. 6.89. 7.04 this season. Played less because of Max Aarons. Definitely is the second choice right back, but he is a good right back. Lucas Digne is the other fullback we started with. Absolutely superb for us. £24 million. Was the first season he was at the club when we had him. Obviously, in real life, he played the season more with the way that the database update works. But he's played well for us. He's got 8 assists in both of his first 2 seasons. Only 6 this season, but he did have a couple of knocks. Bjorkan definitely played a bit more as well, but he actually had the better rating this year. So defensively, I think he's been more solid this season. And then their backups, well, their backups or alternates, however you want to look at it. For right back, it's Max Aarons. He's, again, first choice at the moment, worth up to £81 million. Apparently his asking price is 45. I'm not entirely sure I agree with that. We'll sort that out off camera. But what a season he's had for us this year. In fact, he's not actually had the best season, really, has he? 6.98. It's not been bad. It's not been terrible. But he had half a season last year where he was all right. This season he's done okay as well. I'm pretty happy with him, and I think he would go on to be our top fullback. But Bjorkan, I mean, this guy, worth up to £70 million. This guy genuinely, for £8 million, absolute bargain. Every time we need someone to step in, he is there, and he's a really, really solid defender for us. Very happy with him as a signing. Speaking of signings, I think one of the signings of the save might be Christopher Ajer. We signed him in the second season. It was a way to get rid of John McGinn, admittedly. But as a defensive midfielder and a central defender, I mean, last season he scored 7 goals in the league, 2 assists. This season, far less because he's played predominantly, well, almost exclusively as a defensive midfielder. But he's done a good job for us. He's looked good. He's looked solid. Very, very happy with him. As well as Sander Berge. Sander Berge I feel sorry for because he was the first person we brought in this position. And he's very, very good. Brought him in the first season for £35 million. He's never been a first choice other than that half a season there. But my God, he's been solid for us. Very, very good midfielder. Now, speaking of midfield, Vitinha. It's really annoying because he's got good potential. He's got good ability. His attributes are going up. He's looking great until you look at that. And it's just, for someone who should be an assist machine, he got 1 assist last season and scored 3 worldies. He hasn't scored any goals at all this season and got 3 assists. It's not really that good, to be honest with you. It's not good enough. If there was someone interested in him, I'd put him on the transfer list. I'm still tempted to put him on the transfer list, but he's not been good enough to the point where Felipe Coutinho, out of position, has been playing that and has done all right. I mean, again, only for 4 assists and 2 goals. Not the best season he's had. I mean, last season he was incredible for us, playing out wide. We've changed him into the central midfield position this season, and he's done all right for us. He's not been bad, but he's certainly not been as productive as we'd like. Speaking of not good this season compared to last season, Pedro Gonçalves, I mean, his rating's very good because he's not played that much because of the injury. He's had some good games, some bad games, but actually his return, it's not that far off last season, and I actually thought he did all right last season. So maybe this coming season, although you're not going to see a lot of it, maybe he'll be good. His understudy, though, Jacob Ramsey, chef's kiss. What a season he's had. He has grown into a proper Premier League player. He's outdone everything last season. He started 25 games because of the injury to Gonçalves. 8 goals, 4 assists. I mean, look at the amount of goals he scored down here and the assists as well. The man's been a machine. For a player who's one of our own, absolutely superb. Really, really happy with him and how he has developed. So that midfield 3, absolutely superb. Wing-wise, the most important one was Go PARMA. We brought him in on a permanent after him spending 2 years with us. That first season was pretty good. Last season was spectacular. This season, my God. Calm yourself down, Cole. Calm yourself down. £30 million, very well spent. I can't say more than that. I think it's actually more than that when you include instalments and stuff. Yeah, there you go. Potential costs including add-ons, 35.5. What a season he's had. He's been absolutely superb for us. And then this season we also added Emil Smith-Rowe, who at the time I thought I'd wasted a lot of money on, but actually, what a great season he's had. £80 million well spent, 13 goals, 7 assists, 20 goal contributions in the league for 34 appearances. Took a while to get going, but when he got going, my God, he did not stop. And he's very unlucky not to have his England debut because he was rumoured to have a call-up and then didn't get it. So, bit gutted for him. We also added Raspadori this season, kind of as a backup, as a striker as well. He predominantly played on the wing. And do you know what? He's filled in all right. Only 6 starts, but he scored 3, assisted 4, made 24 appearances in total. He did the job for £13 million. It's a bit of a bargain. He's nowhere near the level we thought he was going to be. He was scouted to have 5-star potential, 4.5-star potential. Didn't get that in the end. But he's done all right for us. And then, of course, I have to mention Emi Buendia, who has been with us since the beginning. £37 million. We bought him for, I say we, I didn't do it. But technically it was last season, but again, because of the database, this was technically his first season. 13 goals and 9 assists in that season. That was his best season for us, actually. Last season played a little bit less, mainly because of Go PARMA. And then this season, again, very much because of Go PARMA. Was a bit up and down this year, but still got 11 assists. Only the 1 goal, though. Bit disappointing. But in terms of the front line, it gets completed by 2 players. I'm going to go to Ivan Toney first, because I do regret this one. I did consider, instead of signing Ivan Toney, I did consider signing a winger and using Raspadori as the striker, but I ended up going with Ivan Toney for 16 million instead. I don't think this was the right thing to do. Only started 4 games, played 9 substitution games as well. Only 1 goal, 1 assist. Not good enough. Going to try and move him on in the summer for some money. But the main man himself, Tammy Abraham, what do you say about him? Attributes look fantastic. Goal output, I mean, he's got more goal contributions than he does appearances in the Premier League. The man is a machine. Absolutely outscored himself from his Roma days. And outscored himself for that season where he was at Villa in real life as well, in the Championship. And again, helped us get promotion there. Helped us win the Premier League and Champions League here. The circle of life is complete. And that's the main bulk of the squad. I've probably missed 1 or 2 players out. I mean, we're not going to look at Williams, not going to look at Rico. Well, we did look at... Did we look at Rico? I don't know. We'll look at Rico because actually, I've got to say, solid backup... Do you know what? I'm signing him. We're making a decision. As a backup goalkeeper, absolutely superb for us. Now, I don't know how much we're actually paying. We're paying... Is it that much we're paying for him? I think that is that much we're paying. So, we get it a little bit closer to that. I'd consider it. I would like him as a backup goalkeeper, and I think he would be absolutely superb for us. I will give him 3 million there. I'll give him that. I mean, that's the amount it'll have to be. I'll put it down to 3. No, actually, we'll give him 4 years. Go on, we'll treat him. We'll give him a couple of nice bonuses here. We'll put him that one there. Sorry, I don't normally do this on camera, but I'm just going to quickly just throw these in. I mean, he's never going to be in the team of the year, so we'll give him a higher one of those. And then cultural contract extension. And we'll give him a sell-on fee thing as well if we move him on. And he wants a bit more money. That's absolutely fine. We did try and lowball it to begin with just to see what would happen. Let's pop those up and see what happens. I mean, would you accept 70? Yes, you will. Okay, that'll do. Right, Sergio Rico's going to be in as a backup goalkeeper. But yeah, absolutely superb. That squad, genuinely, is one of the better squads I think I've had in Football Manager. For this time frame, anyway. I've had a ridiculous Aston Villa squad in FM20, which was full of new gens who were just absolute worldies. But in terms of real-life players that we've got here, I'm surprised we've done as well as we have, but I'm not surprised that we've done well, if that makes sense. Really not surprised at all. Right. In terms of improvements in the squad, because I've just quickly blitzed over that, we're going to do a proper series review once we've done the Club World Cup. In terms of the squad, what do we think we can improve on? Well, I do think we need another central defender of world-class quality. It might spell the end of Tyrone Mings. It could spell the end of Ezri Konsa. But having said all of that, Arthur Theat might be that guy because he has stepped up and been superb. He really has stepped up and been superb. So maybe we don't even need to do that. I'll have a look around. There's one player I've got my eye on. And remember, we have got around £60 million. I adjusted this a while ago and we can't do this because we need to do the club's expectations and stuff like that. But I think a central defender is a must. We need to solve central midfield. I think Vitinha is not long for this world. Possibly Coutinho, I'm not too sure. But we'll have a look through and we'll see that. But other than those guys, we don't need to do a lot, I don't think. Maybe a bit in depth and stuff like that. Maybe a full-back position, maybe. I'm thinking right back. Max Owens is wanted. If someone makes an offer for him, maybe we upgrade him a little bit because he didn't have the best season, but he wasn't terrible. So I am going to go away. We're going to try and do some transfer shenanigans. I'll show you what the squad looks like before the start of the season. And we'll call it there. And then we'll go through to the end of the season and do the Club World Cup. I feel like that's the best thing to do. So bear with me. I'll make some transfers, hopefully. And I'll see you in a minute. Well, we're not going to be around to see it, but this is pretty cool. The new stadium is going to be built for Aston Villa. I mean, I wanted to expand Villa Park, I think last season, and the board were not having it. They said that we didn't have the fan base. Obviously, they disagree now because that is beautiful. I mean, we know no details. It's going to take years for it to happen. We are not going to see it, but it's nice to know that the club is going to be developing in the right direction in the future. Just thought I'd bring you back for that. Our facility's been downgraded as well, which is not ideal, but it's fine. It's okay. I've asked for them to be upgraded, but let's be honest, at this point, we don't really care. Well, that has been a much more stressful and roller coastery transfer window that I had any intention of having. I went into this basically thinking, all we really need is a central defender. Get that and I'll be happy. Maybe an upgrade in the midfield as well, but central defender's the main thing. Oh, we've done some business, and I'll admit some of it is financially irresponsible. Still got a lot of money in the club, by the way. £86 million in the balance, which is pretty good going. I suspect that is going to disappear very quickly, because again, we've spent some money. We've got some high wages that we're paying. But there's a couple of players. I mean, there's a spoiler on the screen that I've just seen, which the club aren't very happy about. But let's just go to the transfers and show you them, shall we? I'm going to show you the most financially irresponsible one, but the one that I just couldn't resist when I saw his name pop up. Jackie Boy is home. We've brought Jack Grealish back to the club. It is a ridiculous deal, which is costing us about £20 million just to loan him for one season. I shouldn't have made this transfer. I'll be completely honest with you. It's £18 million. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. We've got a future fee agreed optional of 150 million. Something tells me we won't be taking that up. But he's made 2 Premier League appearances so far this season. He's done all right for them, actually, in those two. 7.05, got an assist. He's been okay in the last couple of years, but since that deal, he's really not kind of kicked on the way people would have expected him to. So we've brought him back. He's the number 17. I'd have loved to have given him the number 10 shirt, but unfortunately, we'd already registered the numbers. This literally happened on deadline day. We were trying to get it so far early into the season. We tried permanent deals. We tried loan deals. We couldn't get Manchester City to agree to anything. And in the end, I just said, sod it. It's the final season that I'm not even showing you all of. We're doing it purely for the Club World Cup. He's not going to be with us unless I extend the loan. I don't know whether I'll be able to extend the loan. If I can, I will. And then we'll have him for the Club World Cup as well. But I just thought, it's Jack Grealish. I can't not. But he's not the only player that we brought in. We've also brought in a number of talented players. So, defensive is the first thing that we did. Wesley Fofana is the player we decided to bring in as the new defensive partner. Now, I was going to bring in a left-sided player and replace Tyrone Mings. I've not done that. I've ended up selling someone else. And we brought in Wesley Fofana as the right-sided defender. Jacques-Claire Todibo can play either side, so this made sense. But £91 million we signed him from Leicester. Remember, he'd never moved to Chelsea in this timeline. We started this save before he moved over to Chelsea, so we signed directly from Leicester. But so far, he's looked every bit of a £91 million defender. He's looked absolutely superb. Very happy with him. Very happy to see how he does. We've also signed a bit of a weird one. James Maddison is the new deep line playmaker, or at least one of the two. Now, I signed him purely because at the time I couldn't get Jack Grealish, because that's where I wanted to play Jack Grealish. I wanted him to be in the middle as the playmaker. Now, plans have changed on that, and at the time we didn't think it could happen, so we signed James Maddison. He's coming from Leicester for £60 million. It's a lot of money, but yeah, it is what it is. I think we paid it all up front as well, but we've got a decent player in there. He may not be the best player in the world, but he'll do a job. He's got decent passing, decent flair, vision's good, but he can play there. He can play in an attacking midfielder if we change position, sorry, change the formation, and he can play out wide as well. So, to me, he's one of those players that it just made sense to bring in a top quality player like him who can play in so many offensive roles. I think he'll do a decent job for us. I'm very happy with him. Speaking of very happy, I'm also very happy with Tariq Lamptey. I'll show you why we brought him in a minute, but we decided to bring in a new right back, and he can play on left back as well. He's actually played left back once for us already, and he's already looked the business so far. Hasn't got any assists or anything like that, but 7.2 in his first 3 games, one of them at left back as well. £55 million, I would say, is relatively well spent. And then the next 3 are all cover players apart from Jack Grealish. So, Nathan Patterson, brought him in purely as a backup just in case we need backup at the fullbacks. He's not very good. The club weren't very happy with the signing, but he's not costing us a lot of money, I don't think. And if we need him, he's there. He'll be fine. And then this one was a weird one. Full disclosure, Thiago, my director of football put in an offer for him. It got rejected, but it stayed in my head that Thiago was there, and I ended up thinking, well, can we loan him in? So we have loaned him in. He's coming in as a squad player. He's going to provide defensive cover. He can play either as a defensive midfielder or as a central midfielder, as a playmaker. He could play as an attacking midfielder as well. We won't be doing that, though. He is a backup. He's not in our Champions League squad, bless him, but he will do a decent job for us. We are paying a hefty amount per week for him, but no loan fee or anything like that. It is just his wages. And I think as a backup, I mean, Thiago as a backup, I mean, yes, he's 33, but what a backup he will be. And that was the final signing, again, on deadline day, along with Jack Grealish. Those two were the last two in. In terms of players out, we have done a lot of business. So we have actually only spent net 70-something million, which I think is very impressive. Ivan Toney was, in fact, no, it wasn't Ivan Toney. It was Felipe Coutinho. He's the first player properly who left. This was a weird one. I kind of looked at him and thought, he's 32 years old. He's one of our better players. We could keep him, but he's going to want a lot of money per week. And also, in the nicest possible way, he's only going to get worse. So actually, let's try and cash in on him while he's still got some value. And at the end of the day, we've made profit on him. In the game, we've technically not paid for him. But actually, in real life, it was a very, very low fee. So to get £50 million for Jack Grealish, I think was very, very good. It's a bit weird that he's come from us to go to Real Madrid after he was at Barcelona, but he didn't have a great time at Barcelona, did he? So it is what it is. He's played one game for them so far. Not played very well. Wonder where they're going to play him, actually. But a little bit sad to see him go because he performed for us pretty well. Thank you, Mr. Felipe Coutinho, for all of your service at the club. We got rid of Etienne Green. I mean, this was a fail of a transfer on my part, I will admit, but we did make a profit on him, a couple of £1 million. That was fine. Then the next biggest one was Ivan Toney. We moved him on. He's gone back to Newcastle, where he only made 2 appearances previously. So far this season, he's made 3 substitute appearances and done sod all. So, maybe we made the right decision there. Did make a bit of a profit on him, £4 million profit, £20 million we sold him for, 16 we bought him in for. We then had to move on Max Aarons, because Max Aarons asked for a new contract. We agreed, and he wanted a ridiculous amount of money. Ridiculously, he wanted more money than what he's got at Inter, and it was really, really, pardon my French, me off. So we ended up selling him. We sold him, I think it was definitely, it was, I was going to say, definitely for a profit. £45 million, decent fee. He started out really well over there. And you know what? Fair play to him. Fair play that he started out really well over there. But also, at the same time, sod him. We then sold Louis Barry, who just doesn't have the potential to get anywhere near what I think he might do in real life. But we just cashed in on him. We've got a decent fee for him as well. I mean, Villa in real life paid, what was this? Ridiculous cheap fee, £925,000. We made £18 million. So, you know, £17 million profit. Happy days. Kerr Smith's gone out on loan. And then Ezri Konsa, the player who moved on to make room for Wesley Fofana, the right-sided central defender. He's a good player. And I'd like to have kept him. I'd like to have got rid of Tyrone Mings. But as Tyrone Mings is one of the team leaders, it's one of them. We had to make a judgment call. And to be honest, actually, looking at attributes, Tyrone's better. And he's the captain, so it just is one of them. But he's gone to Real Madrid. Hell of a transfer for him. Very happy with his contribution. Thank you, sir, for all of your service. Brought him into the club. £12 million in real life, and 27.5 is what we sold him for. So we have made a profit on him. Then we did sell Alvaro Carrillo. Alvaro Carrillo, I thought, could become something, and I still think he could have been. I just wanted to raise the money. Just in case we had any crazy transfers go through. You've seen the transfers we did, so it was a matter of just making that money. So he's gone over to Bayer Leverkusen. Looks like he's doing okay there so far, but brought him in for nothing actually, and sold him for £17.5 million. Good bit of business there, I would say. And that is the last of the big transfers. The only other one was Cameron Archer. On deadline day, we let him go to Norwich, let him go for permanent. It's the last season. Again, similar to Lou Barry, he can get to 2.5-star, 3-star ability. He'll be all right, but he doesn't really like big matches. And he's just one of those players who never really kicked on for us, never scored a league goal for us. It was time to move it on. And everything else is either small players who don't really feature into anything, or loan players or anything like that. So that is transfer done. And the squad, I think, is looking pretty good, actually. I mean, you look at the quality of players that we've got. If we do it on the squad screen, that's the wrong button to do. If we look on the squad screen, if we go by position, we've got a squad of about 25 or 26 here, including Aaron Ramsey, who we tried to get back out on loan, 26 players. We tried to get Aaron Ramsey back out on loan, and that didn't work. Oh, before I forget anything, actually, Sergio Rico, he's in permanently as well. I don't know whether you already knew this. You may have, you may not have. £500,000 paid for him, paying all of his wages. He did all right for us last season. It made sense to bring him back in. But if you look at that squad, if we look at it by ability, I actually think that the ability here is deceiving with some of the players in the mid-range, that 3-star kind of range there. But Wesley Fofana, 4.5-star potential player. He's fantastic. Pedro's great. Emil's great. Tammy's great. Jack, we'll see. Hopefully he will be great. Vitinha on his day can be good. Sander Burge is solid. Cole Palmer's great. Theat's great. Digne's great. Buendia on his day is good. Thiago, we'll see. There's so many good players in this squad. I'm really, really happy with what we've got and what we've developed here. I think this squad could go on to become a real force. I'd like to get, if I was going to do this save further in the future, Jack Grealish on a permanent would be an absolute must for me, just to round out the save, you know, bring in old man Grillish. Old man Grillish, he's 28 years old still. But bringing him back to the club after going to Man City, winning a league title, and then everything kind of falling apart after that, to redeem himself and doing it at his boyhood club, to me, that would be something of a romantic way to end out his career and end out the save. But that's what we're going into the season with. And this is the last time you're going to see me until the end of the season. Because, again, this is all about the Club World Cup. So I don't quite know whether I'm going to do 1 episode or 2 episodes on the Club World Cup. It depends how far we go, really. But that is going to be it. I am now going to play through the season. I'm not going to just do the go on holiday. I'm not just going to do that. I might do that for a month or 2, perhaps. But what I think I'm going to do is, the Zealand skin that I've got has got a simulate match feature. Now, I haven't actually done that yet. And just to quickly show you how we've done so far this season, we've been very, very good. Won the most important trophy in world football, the Community Shield. Beat Wolves 5-2. That was lovely. We did lose the UEFA Super Cup, which I did forget. A 90-second Pierre-Emile Højbjerg goal, which was really frustrating. But then in the actual league season so far, we've been really, really good. 2-1 against Liverpool, a battering of 5-0 against Crystal Palace, and then at Old Trafford we beat Man United 3-2, you know, because why wouldn't we? Dominic Calvert-Lewin, by the way. Did I mention Dominic Calvert-Lewin, by the way? I don't think I did. Did we talk about Dominic Calvert-Lewin? He's our new backup striker. Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I'm really happy with him as well. So far, 3 substitute appearances, 1 goal, 1 assist. Both of them in different games as well. We've played him on the left. He can play, he's obviously going to be a backup striker as well, but he can come in and be a backup on the left as well. I think, as a backup for Tammy, he's a great option to have. Like, actually superb. So, I don't think I mentioned him before. I really should have done. £53 million. It's a lot of money for a backup. £100,000 a week. I think he'll do a really, really good job for us. So I just thought, I don't think I mentioned him, but yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to seeing how this season goes. Now, although you're not going to see it, I will show you our Champions League group. It's Inter, us, Wolfsburg, and FC Lausanne. We have a very winnable Champions League group, so we should be able to go through to the knockouts, no problem. Just a reminder, the club wants us actually to get to the quarterfinal. You know, all right, chill out, guys. They want us to qualify for the Champions League in the league as well. Semi-final of the FA Cup. We made a rod for our own backs with the first 2 seasons with that, and last season getting to the semis as well. Do not give a toss about the EFL Cup, so we'll just see what happens with that. But that is going to be it, I think. I am now going to go through the season, and once we finish the season, I'd like to think, maybe, we might get to another Champions League final, but if we don't, I'll see you after the last league game of the season, and then we'll put our eyes on the Club World Cup. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this episode, please do leave a like on it for me and subscribe so you don't miss any of the lovely FM content that is to come. I've been Stu, you guys have been awesome, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.